Hello, hello. Welcome to Talkin' Shiz with the Hona Fiber and Greens team here. I'm Justin, and we got Eliza and Andrew. Going to talk everything from nutrition, life, feeling good, and taking good poops on a daily basis. Is help the world. That's our goal. We want to help the world have better bowel movements. And that's one goal, but also feel better and look good and just have better energy in life in general, you know?
Yeah.
You know, our goal is to help people just have a better life at the end of the day. Feel good. That's kind of our motto, feel good in a way. So anyways, glad to have Andrew here with us. Andrew's one of the founders. Me and Liza obviously are husband and wife. We talked a little bit on our first podcast. If you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to that. You'll hear Liza's journey, Liza's story about how she kind of came up with an idea through her training and working to win a competition, IFBB Bikini National Championship in her age group as an amateur. And then, at that same time, we were transitioning and thinking about how we could because at the end of the day, neither of us had a desire to say, oh yeah, I want to start a supplement company. Let's go figure out how to start a supplement company. We literally just were taking things and we realized it would be a lot easier and a lot better on our life and our lifestyle to take it, put it all in one and taste awesome, be organic, all natural. And so we really created this Hona Fiber and Greens out of necessity.
It was kind of annoying that nobody else had done it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And around the time you and I were talking about is when I met Andrew golfing, because we are golf nuts.
Yeah.
So we will talk golfing on this podcast too.
Oh yeah.
So President's Cup is coming up this weekend. But at the end of the day, we're not going to talk too much golf today.
Yeah. And if Joel Damon hears this, we would love to have you on.
Yeah. Or even Max Homa.
Oh yeah.
Max Homa likes Hona.
Yeah. Homa's
Perfect.
Hona.
Yeah. So, and Hona stands for Human Optimized Nutritional Aid, just so everybody knows. Where'd you come up with the name? Yes, we love Hawaii. We go to the islands a lot. We enjoy it. We love playing golf out there, being by the beach. So it kind of has that island vibe and feel, the name, but really it's Hona stands for Human Optimized Nutritional Aid, because that's what we feel we have here to optimize your life.
Yeah. Well, plus our parent company name, Ohana,
Yeah.
means family. So,
Yeah. So we're all about the family.
All about family.
All about taking care of everybody and take care of the world family too with Hona Fiber and Greens. So anyways, so we were talking last week about Liza and how her story and how she came to be where she's at. You have an awesome story too about your journey and how you kind of what brought us together to be the creators of Hona Fiber and Greens.
Yeah, for sure. We can just dive right in. I kind of think of my journey as similar. There was this fitness guy, and he used to do fit to fat to fit. You guys remember?
Oh
him
yeah. He was like on talk shows.
That's the story of my 20s and 30s.
Most people
fit to fat to fit.
Yeah.
So, my story is basically I've always been on a yo-yo diet. Like, I guess not a diet necessarily, but I either am super in shape and working really hard at some type of fitness goal, or I'm a couch potato, eating massive bowls of ice cream with all the doings on top and just gaining weight like crazy. And so I noticed like in my early 20s when I took an office position where I was working, like I'd previously been working in a construction lumber yard, and I was just like moving heavy stuff all the time, and I was super in shape and super tan and sexy and young. And then I took the inside job in the office and just immediately gained weight from, just like you, Justin, just eating like McDonald's every day. I didn't have to care. It was my early 20s, and then I just started ballooning. And then that led me to want to do things like more fitness oriented. And my daddy's a military man, and he's like always into all kinds of fitness. And that guy's run probably to the moon and back twice at this point in time, over mountains and everything. And so I started joining him on running and caught the bug. It's real easy to do, especially when you get into those longer miles and you start actually enjoying your run. There's that central section of the run, I call it the middle third, where you're actually just like, you're breathing good, your muscles are loose, your heart rate's low, and you're just having a good time. So endorphins hit. You listen into a good song, and you smile on a run. I didn't know that was a thing till I was like 26.
Yeah, endorphins are legit. Yeah. Endorphins are legit. I remember crying sometimes running. Like I would be so happy. I would be like, man, I don't know why I'm so happy, and just thinking about everybody in my life that I love and everything. Yeah. And just
you'd get done with a race and it would be the best, because he'd be like, I love you all. Thank you. You just make this possible.
Yeah. I totally know what you mean. That's exactly how I felt about it. And I loved it. And so, so basically I was just constantly gaining and losing weight. And then in my 30s, it got harder. I was doing like boxing fitness and running ultra marathons and all that. But if I wasn't constantly working on my weight, I was gaining weight. And so there were times that I ballooned up to like 215, 220, 225. And then right around probably age like 34, I would say, previous to that, I had gotten into weightlifting. And so I was doing like 2-a-days at the gym. I was just pushing tons of weight and feeling great. And then I hurt my back doing, obviously lifting incorrectly, which Eliza would probably know exactly what happened to me. But I hurt my back, and then when I got better, I just was like, I'd lost all my motivation. And so I had all that muscle weight, and then I started putting on fat weight, and I ballooned up like 246 or 247 pounds.
How tall are you?
5'11". So yeah. So
how heavy were you?
247. I don't want to exaggerate. It may have been 246, but it was just like, I remember one day just looking at the scale and just like,
you lie.
Oh my gosh. And there was like side effects to that. Like I was in pain when I slept, and I would snore. So I wasn't sleeping through the night. You think you are, but like I was going to need one of those, what are those breathing CPAP. Like, and I was 34, and I like probably should have been looking into getting a CPAP, And I was drinking.
Your poor wife.
Yeah. She would hit me with her elbow and say, Andrew, roll over. Because if I was like on my back, I would just be snoring so heavily, and she would like wake me up and force me to roll over so I'd stop snoring. And
even your throat was fat.
Yeah, even my throat was fat. And I had another thing, and I don't know if this was related to my weight, but it has since resolved itself since I lost weight. But like I would eat food, and it would get like trapped just below like where you breathe, like where the entrance to your lung is. It gets
esophagus
caught, area. It gets caught in my esophagus, just like right about in my central chest area, and like behind my sternum. And I would like literally be choking. Like I couldn't drink water. It was like hard to breathe. I could breathe, so I wasn't actually choking, but I call it choking because and it would take a long time to get it down, or I'd have to vomit to get it back up. And this went on for years. And it was kind of scary. Scare my wife, scare my kids, and I had a business meeting once at a restaurant where I spent the whole meeting in the bathroom trying to get something out.
Oh man.
And it was like really embarrassing, right? So, anyway, so one day, and right around the age of like 34, 35 or something like that, I got just backed up, just clogged up. And which for me, I've always had gut issues my whole life. I've had like inflammation, gas, like embarrassingly bad gas, and poop like 6 times a day, just all those issues that are pretty common for a lot of folks. But one day I just like got clogged up, and then it was like 2 days, and then it was 3 days, and then it was 4 days, and then it was 5 days. And I'm starting to get like, okay, if I haven't had a bowel movement in 5 days and I'm eating normal, like there's something like dangerous going on. So I started to get kind of scared, right? And at this time, I should interject that I had started to lose weight. I was down like in like 215, maybe 210. And I had started drinking like diet soda for breakfast. Like, just that was it. Diet Mountain Dew. That was my go-to. And I take 2 of them out of the fridge every day and carry them into work all jolly. And that was like my breakfast. And I called it intermittent fasting, quote unquote,
Yeah.
But I was just drinking Diet Mountain Dew for breakfast essentially. And, so I had gotten my weight down, but I was still suffering pretty bad. So I got backed up, and then on day 5, I took some laxatives, and day 6, I took some laxatives, and like they helped a little bit. Anybody's taking laxatives, it's very uncomfortable. It's like really painful, cramping, you feel like you have to go, and it just is really uncomfortable. And so like day 7 of being totally backed up and just like feeling really, really crappy and worried. I was like really scared. I just went to the store and bought some Metamucil just on a whim. I was like, I'm just going to try this. And like the next morning and for the next several mornings, I had Olympic bowel movements.
Wow.
It was like everything I'd eaten for the last 5 years was coming out. And it wasn't like painful or anything. It was relieving. It was just a very soothing and relieving feeling. But then I got on the scale and I'd lost like 6 pounds. And I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm onto something here. And then I got on the scale the next day and lost 2 more pounds. The next day I lost 2 more pounds. And this went on all the way down to 173 pounds.
So you're at 246.
Yeah.
And now you're down at 173.
Yeah, over the span of like a couple of years.
And it's not like, I mean, what else did you change or do differently besides taking fiber?
The year that I lost all the weight, I did start golfing a lot. But I wasn't like walking really. So when I got down to like the low 190s, the only fitness I was doing was like, I did have like a body weight regimen where every day I would do 4 sets of 10 pull-ups, leg lifts, and dips. And that was mostly just because I was interested in shaping my upper body a little bit. I wasn't like trying to lift heavy or anything. I just wanted to add some shape to my scrawny arms and chest, you know? And I had been big before. And so I had like a bit of an aspiration to be shaped out a little bit. So I was doing that. And, but then the year that I met you, I had started walking like morning rounds, play like 4 or 5 times a week in the morning, 9 holes, and I would just walk those holes. Mm-hmm. So there was some fitness element to it. You know, it wasn't like anything serious. It was light fitness element. And that's when I got down to like the low 170s, which is when I met you, Justin. And so like I was kind of at the end of like my incredible fiber transformation essentially, but I was taking fiber every day for breakfast. I would come in and Metamucil's gross, so I would mix it in water, like 20-30 ounces of water, not 30, that's a lot, like 20-24 ounces of water. And then I had these sugar-free juice squirt things that I still drink. You guys see them, but and I would add them to the Metamucil to just really sweeten it up to mask it because it was gross.
It was kind of gritty, probably.
Yeah,
right?
Kind of gritty. And then I actually switched over to an off-brand Top Care because I thought it actually worked a little better than the Metamucil. So, and it was like $10 cheaper. Yeah. So,
and Metamucil is psyllium.
Yeah, it's psyllium. So I was taking, so I just changed to a Top Care psyllium husk is all it was. It had a really light, cheap orange flavor. So I'd add a tropical fruit flavorizer to it and take that. And then, and so then I met you golfing and I was I try to sell people when I'm golfing on my businesses, like, cause I sell like some contract manufacturing and some printing and I was like playing golf with Justin, who's phenomenal at golf. And so I was a little intimidated. Plus you were with Jaden.
Depends on the day. Depends on the day.
Yeah. And fickle
sport.
It's a fickle sport. We were playing great that day. I actually had a pretty decent round that day too. And I was like, so you ever thought about starting a brand? And he's like, well, yeah, actually I have. And then that was it. That was like hole 3. Yeah. And then we just didn't talk about anything but golf after that. I mean, we were strangers, just paired up on a hole. And
funny thing is, you didn't even give him your card or information.
This is my favorite part of the story. That's totally true, Eliza. That's totally true. So I just leave. 9 holes is over. Shake hands. How you doing? Nice to meet you. See you later.
Well, you did tell me I'm into branding and helping businesses and printing and stuff like that. So
I did mention that.
So that led me to think, maybe this is somebody me and Liza should talk to for starting this supplement brand and getting this off the ground.
Yeah. So we had some light conversation around it, and I really didn't try to sell them at all, which was kind of embarrassing on my part because that's what I'm supposed to do, you know. And then like 2 days later or something, I get an email on my personal email address from Justin. You want to talk about a brand?
Tracked you down through the pro shop, right?
Yeah, which I don't know why pro shops are handing out my personal information, but they totally did, and I'm so glad they did. And then we met up and got to talking, and we knew we wanted to start a supplement, maybe something fitness oriented. We weren't really 100% sure we wanted to go with it. And it just like within like 15 minutes of the legitimate conversation, we got talking about fiber. It's like, well, Eliza loves fiber. It's benefited her in these ways. And I'm like, well, I love fiber. I lost a ton of weight thanks to fiber. And of all the things that somebody could be taking to feel better, it was just as simple as psyllium husk. And that was it. It just felt obvious. We had like all these ideas around it, but like none of them made as much sense as the fiber product. And so, yeah, and so it helped your life. It dramatically helped my life. I mean, I would argue that if you added a few years to my story and I hadn't changed anything, it actually probably saved my life, because I was on my way to diabetes, heart disease, who knows what other manner of issues that were going to come up just because of my inability to manage my weight. Yeah. So, and regulate my gut. So, yeah. So fiber was kind of the catalyst to it, but it wasn't just like, oh, we just go create another fiber drink. We knew we wanted greens because, I mean, to me, it's always been, I never can eat enough greens. I'm always just, we're busy. We're busy people. We're not sitting around. We have kids. You have kids. Mm-hmm. We have livelihoods. All these things. And we're on the go. By the time our feet hit the ground out of the bed, we're running. Well, we're all entrepreneurs, and there's no rest for the weary when you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So we're all running. And so honestly, it was like, how do we give ourselves what we really need on a daily basis to keep us going and optimizing our lives at the best level.
And just the quality of ingredients too. I mean, you look at our food and how processed it is, and even the vegetables and fruits that we're eating, they've been modified and stuff. So just to get like quality greens and quality minerals and vitamins and things.
And you talk about even the stuff that goes on, like some of the greens you might be eating when you go out to eat. Are those, how are those in the field treated with glyphosate, all those things? That's a whole nother conversation for another day. But getting good quality greens, organic, all natural, all those things in your life, in your daily nutrition is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, if you have not tracked how much fiber you're getting in your diet, you'd be amazed at what you are not getting. And most people, when they start tracking, are just blown away.
What's the average? What do they say the average?
Like 5.
What is it?
5 grams a day?
5 to 11, I think is, yeah. I mean, and your women need close to 30, men need close to 50.
Yeah.
So our Americanized diet just doesn't have room for it. I mean, when you go to like your local Chinese food chain, you know what I mean? You're just getting pasta and MSG, and that's like it. Or if you, and we're a fast paced environment. My family is no different than any other. I don't have like time or frankly the budget to be eating like 100% healthy product every single day. So we do eat a lot of processed foods at our house. We make a lot of food at our house, but a lot of that stuff is processed before we make it. You're thinking frozen vegetables, anything in a can, packed with sodium and processed, and so we, so that diet mentality I think is very typical for the American household, and it just is really lacking in fiber, and it's just incredible like what the addition of it has done for my life alone, and then even my wife, we should have her on sometime and tell her story, because she's got an autoimmune disorder, and like the regulating that was quite a journey. And she just found that when we started this, she's like, well, maybe I should try drinking some of this magic juice you made. And and she found it to be incredibly helpful. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, let's face it. All of us are children of the food pyramid generation, right?
Yeah, right.
I remember being taught the food pyramid in school. I remember looking at it and seeing grains and all those things, and where and meat was like at the top, or the smallest part, and how that's been basically flipped.
Didn't they have salt at the peak, like a little tiny thing of salt?
Have you seen the South Park episode where they're like in this science thing, and they're like, flip it, the answer's to flip it, and they flip the pyramid, and they're like, it's so messed up.
Gotta love South Park. But we're all children of that generation, and so like I remember like my parents buying cereal, and just how horrible cereal is actually for you and everything. And it's like, but it's hard to wake up, spend 20 minutes boiling some eggs or cooking some eggs, or getting up and, hey, let's cut up some fruit and have this. And it's just really easier to grab, some milk and then throw it in fast, because we're all running out the door. We're all busy. And so, that's one thing that I do every morning is I drink Hona Fiber and Greens when I wake up, like within 30 minutes of waking up, because it fills me up. I literally go lift, and I'll go do a lifting session with Eliza, a resistance training, and I'm not hungry. I'm not starving. And usually I have an awesome bowel movement at the end of my
Let's be honest, in the middle of the workout,
which is awesome too. Yeah.
That's funny.
Our
I
gym
drink it
bathroom
after.
is his throne.
Yeah, I love it, and it's just part of the benefit, because then I know I'm cleaned out too. Yeah. Like I know, like there's something, like if you're an intermittent faster, if you like to fast, if you're keto, all those things, if those are things that work for you, it's not my jam, but I know it works for some people. We're all different. Everybody has things that work and it is easier for them in their lifestyle. This keeps you in keto. It keeps you fasting. It doesn't spike your blood sugar. It actually decreases your blood sugar.
We'll have to get into that amazing story.
And so that's what we're going to talk about next week, is we're going to talk about one of our diabetic friends who bought Hona for the first time, took it, and saw their blood sugar levels drop 25 points within 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to that on the next episode. But anything else, man, you want to share or talk about that, like besides like, the fiber, like that's just one of the key things in your life now?
Yeah, no, man, if I was to summarize, like I'm a busy guy. I get up at 4:00 in the morning and I work all day, and then we got kid stuff all night, and I don't have like a lot of time or leisure to focus on my health. So to have something that I know is healthy for my heart and is helping with my intermittent fasting so I can keep my weight in a healthy place has been just an amazing solution. And I don't mean to like go off like an infomercial, but that is why we're here, is to talk about healthy living. And it is difficult for the American modern family to have a healthy lifestyle. And I just found that, like, even if it's not
first world family,
it's incredible. And even if you don't use the product that we created, I would just strongly encourage any of our listeners to go out and just get an inexpensive psyllium husk fiber and add it to your daily routine, just so you can live better. And that's purely all I care about, is just having people live better. I tell so many people that I know, like, they're like, what did you do to lose all that weight? I'm like, dude, fiber. And they're like, oh. And then they don't even think twice about it. It's like, bro, you could spend $15 a month. Yeah. You could lose tons of weight and just feel better. So that's all I want for the people that I care about. And anybody who's in the same shoes as me, you know.
It's crazy because fiber's been around for so long and it's so generic in the simplest form in psyllium that, I remember my grandma every morning, that was the thing. And I just thought it was a grandma thing. I thought someday when I'm old, I'm going to need fiber every single day. And she was onto something. And it's really crazy how that it's just starting to hit where it's more general knowledge.
Which I'm grateful for, because like people need to live better. Like there's so many diseases and so many businesses make money greedily off of what is wrong with people by the products that exist in the market, and we just don't need that. You can just be healthier very inexpensively, and I think that the average American family can benefit from a really inexpensive addition to their daily diet.
Yeah, totally. And part of this whole journey of starting Hona Fiber and Greens and creating it is, and I learned, fiber, my dad took fiber for years. And, we're going to get into that in another conversation, talking about how people that we have issues with constipation, and studies that have shown what that mental degenerative diseases happen. Yeah. We're going to talk about that down the road here, guys. We're going to get into a lot of stuff, but fiber he took, and I never realized that fiber is actually a carbohydrate. Nobody taught me that. Like fiber is a carbohydrate, but your body cannot digest it. As humans, we lack the enzyme. And so really all fiber does, for those people watching, is it feeds your gut bacteria, makes you feel full, and then it also helps you go to number 2, helps you poo. And those are very important things, because if your gut bacteria isn't healthy, you have leaky gut issues. There's all kinds of gut membrane issues we talk about. We're going to go on and on another day.
I'll be excited to get into that, because talking about fiber is essentially a nootropic, which I'm a big fan of nootropics, will be a fun conversation.
Yeah, for sure. So it is a carbohydrate, but you cannot digest it. And
that's the whole net carbs thing when people put on packages, net carbs, because you're not getting the calories from the actual fiber. It's feeding your gut, and that's where it's
so just so people watching to know too, like one of the things, like we take this, we add ice water, then we add a scoop of Hona Fiber Greens to our ice water, shake it up, 5 shake, it's good to go. Tastes awesome. That's the biggest thing for us, was that it would taste good. It's, it has real fruit. It's sweetened with stevia. There's no artificial chemicals, nothing from a lab in here. Everything comes from Mother Earth. So go like us on all the socials at TryHona, tryhona.com. Get you some Hona Fiber and Greens, and hope you like it. Thanks for listening.